Now, I think a lot of you understand how are we doing for time, Wayne? We're all right, okay. Because I want to leave time at the end for some questions. But a lot of you understand why we always refer to our new developments as the secret weapon. As you probably know, Nemesis opened head-to-head with the big one at Blackpool, and people thought that we were just using Nemesis as our secret weapon. Well, that wasn't the case at all. This is the story of how Nemesis really happened. In 1990, Alton Towers decided it needed a big new roller coaster for 1994, so we had 4 years to plan it. They wanted something big, but not too high, for planning reasons. They wanted something different, but not too high, for planning reasons. And something exciting, but not too high, for planning reasons. Or we won't get planning consent. The planners made it abundantly apparent to us. So what? Well, we eventually decided on the Arrow pipeline. Now, the Arrow pipeline coaster was an idea that Ron Toomer had thought up based on the Togo Ultra Twister, where basically the track was either side of the heart line of the riders, and the track could turn and perform a sort of rifle barrel roll. And they built this prototype, and we thought this would be ideal for us. But the problem was the theme. Well, it looked rather like a missile. And the idea came to me that in all good James Bond films, the villain has always got some sinister secret facility in the countryside surrounded by tall barbed wire fences where he's developing some kind of secret weapon. And the idea was that we would create this sinister facility with barbed wire fences around it where these strange missile-like things were moving around. And we were going to call it the secret weapon. So eventually I got the all clear to go out to Salt Lake City to ride the prototype, and to be perfectly frank, it was a complete disaster. It was very, very energy inefficient, which meant that we couldn't get very much track for a given lift height. It was slow, it was cumbersome, it was boring, and it really was back to the drawing board for us. But by that time, we'd already started working on SW, in other words, secret weapon layouts and plans and so on. But I'm a bit ahead of myself here. Yeah, how do we think of the secret weapon? So the first drawing of that ride was labelled SW1. We wrote the prototype, but it was very slow and rather boring. It looked very cumbersome, and it was very energy inefficient, as I say. So it was back to the drawing board. Now, I then heard a rumour that there was a mystery coaster being built at the Six Flags Park in Chicago. It was being built by Bolliger and Mabuard, and when the loop started to go up, it was very obvious that the track was on the outside of the loop. Now, we built the Vampire at Chessington a few years before, and obviously my dream was to have some kind of suspended coaster that could go through inversions. And it really looked as if B&M had cracked how to do it. So I phoned them up, and in true B&M fashion, they said, "I'm sorry, but we can't talk to you about it." You know, they're very closed, they're very discreet. So B&M wouldn't tell us anything at all about it. So I then phoned up Harold Hudson, who was the technical director of Six Flags, and said, Harold, what is this thing that you're building? And he said, well, it is an inverted coaster, and we'll let you come and we'll let you in on the secret. So that was the long and short of it. We went to B&M, we talked to them about it, and we came up with a very first rough layout, which didn't come out very clearly there, but we identified the site. Oh, that's far better, that shows it much more clearly. We identified the site, which people say to me, oh, it's very clever the way you were able to design the layout and profile of Nemesis around that hole. That hole wasn't there, that was a flat level site. We excavated the hole to suit Nemesis. Every single ton of rock was blasted out and we created the hole. Now, the Nemesis layout was dictated to by two trees on the site, which were the highest points of any feature, and the planners made it very clear to us that we couldn't go above those trees. So we had to work the top of the lift between two trees, and we came up with that layout. So this was, now this is rather interesting. You see the date of this memo from me, the 5th of November 1992, and this was the first word picture I did of Nemesis, which was the way we managed to sell it to Pearson, who were the parent company that then owned the Swords Group, who owned Alton Towers. So that was the start, if you like, of Nemesis. I won't bore you with all the details of it, but it talks about the ride, the theme of the ride being not the track being something which is supported by the steelwork, but it's the tentacles of a creature that's being held down to the ground by the steel. So this is the document that started the ball rolling with Nemesis. These are the early visuals that Tussauds Studio did of the typical sort of track colours and so on, the patina of the ride, samples that we gave to the planners, a very early visual of the station. And so what should we call the ride? Well, this is where Nick Varney and I, we just could not come up with a name. And we locked ourselves in his office with a bottle of Southern Comfort, actually. And we decided we would not leave the office till we came out with a name. And the name Nemesis was born. So, some statistics for you. Well, during its lifetime, Nemesis has given rides to more than 24 million people. Now, Nemesis trains have gone round the track as of, not like yesterday, but a couple of weeks ago, 857,372 times, which is a total distance of 380,000 miles, which is equivalent to travelling around the world 15 times. So that kind of puts it into perspective. So that's the story of Nemesis. And I hope it gives you an insight into the way we do things. So thank you very much indeed for your attention.